What's up people, I'm back again, but this time I got a little bit of a different video for you. So earlier this year, I was out in the gambling home of the world, Las Vegas. I had a great time out there. I was partying it up on the strip, in the casinos every day.
Now we're in Vegas, about to go crush it. We're already up about 10K. In to land on 1,000.
All right, come on boys, 3 seconds.
But yin and yang in life is real, and I had to take a little bit of a break from that, as well as give the casinos a little bit of a break from me taking their money every night. You know, I'm an MMA gambler, right? But long before I was betting on MMA, I was training MMA. And I still do to this day. So, like I said, I had to take a little bit of a break from Las Vegas and all the madness of it and go and visit my friend Jeremy Kennedy down at Xtreme Couture gym. Now, if you don't know Xtreme Couture, it's one of the best MMA gyms in the world. And it's home to renowned fighters like Francis Ngannou, Sean Strickland, Chris Curtis, and led by one of the best coaches in the world, Eric Nixick. Shout out to Eric. Another high-level fighter who trains there is Jeremy Kennedy, the former Bellator title challenger and someone I now consider a friend. While I was in Vegas, I was lucky enough to get some training in with Jeremy, and after that we had a quick chat about the fight game, how he deals with nerves, visualization, and we even touched on whether he watches tape or not. And we also did a fun full-length podcast that I will be releasing to my podcast channel on YouTube later on this year, so go and follow up that channel if you haven't yet. We recorded the chat and I'm bringing it to you now, so I hope you enjoy the video.
So like when you're fighting, you know that every time you go in there, you might lose. And you might lose embarrassingly, right? You might get knocked unconscious. You might have to tap out. Like you get nerves, like I might get knocked out in front of all my friends and family, or you've just been in the game for so long, you deal with it.
I mean, at the beginning, but you can't really think like that, or else you're gonna be fighting timid and fighting scared, and then it's gonna end up happening, you know what I mean, worse.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that, like, signing up for fighting, that's one of the potential, you know, outcomes.
Yeah.
As much as I want it to happen for me, I want to knock this guy out. He wants to knock me out. You know, I want to finish him. So it's like the high highs, low lows. Like when I get a knockout, it's unreal, you know. But that other dude's going through what I was afraid to go through, you know. And then vice versa. If I get knocked out, that dude's just the highest time of his life or whatever. But it's humbling, and it's also what makes the sport so good and so cool.
It's true. It's so raw.
So
and anything can happen. Has it ever affected you in any fight, like thinking about the potential outcome of the fight, too much focus on the result? It's affected you in the cage?
2 times actually. One was my last fight.
This is for a title,
I was
right?
title fight, and like I dropped him. I remember thinking in the fight, I was like, oh, I've got him. I was like, oh, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna finish him. Like it was in my head running through those places, like, but the job wasn't done, you know. And then the other time was PFL, the 2 fights in one night.
Okay,
I fought Luis Laurentino. It was a rematch. I beat him, and I went in the back, and Daniel Pineda beat Movlid in like a upset, crazy upset.
Yeah,
He
like 10 seconds or some
it
shit,
was like 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to meet him at all. I was like all camp.
Movlid.
I was like, I'm gonna be facing Movlid in the semis, whatever. And then it was a switch up where I was like, damn, this guy, and his record was whatever, 25 and 13,
Bunch of losses,
and he's, I think he was getting older too. It was like mid-30s, and I was like, this is easy. Like I got this. I'm going to New York. I'm in the finals, whatever.
Really?
And the announcer, it's like these people are fighting for a chance at the $1 million in New York, and I was like, already putting myself there, bro. And you know, like you just take a lapse, and then I came out.
So he wasn't nervous at all. He was like,
I was too relaxed. Too relaxed. Yeah. And then I went out and got caught with a punch right away, and I was like, I'm in a fight. I forgot. You know what I mean? And it's just like I know I could have beat him, but I thought it was gonna be like way easier than it was. So it's not like, I mean, you could say I was underestimating him, but it was more of like when it didn't go as easy as I thought it was going to be, it was like a game changer, and I was already in New York. I was already in the finals, you know. So, and my best fights have been the ones that are like, I fought in Morocco and Saudi Arabia for Brave after my UFC tenure, and like because of the time change and the streaming, and nobody back home really knew what was going on.
No
So it was just me out in the middle of nowhere fighting, and I was just like knocking dudes out, feeling good, and you know, it's crazy the environment, how much of that impacts, and I think that's what's I've worked a lot on is it's just a fight, bro, and it's the same stuff I do every day. And now you're just throwing a little bit harder and there's a little bit more people watching, you know? So.
You're gonna do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you think in your mind, you're gonna get out there and fight. You're
That's
not
why,
gonna
so
pull
don't
out.
be nervous.
So
You
if
can't-
you're gonna get out, if you're gonna go out there, whether you're nervous or super relaxed, you still gotta fight. So you might as well just like forget all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
It's funny that you say that. That was actually coming up in, when I was an amateur, I would like crazy nerves, bad nerves. And then I just started thinking, I'm like, it was always like when I was in the back warming up, and back in the day they would get you at like the beginning of the card, so I'm sitting there for like 6 hours. And I would just be like dreading the whole time. But then I thought like, that exact thought went through my brain of like, bro, no matter what, I'm gonna be getting in there. I'm not leaving. I'm at the event, I'm not gonna not fight, you know, like I'm gonna get in there. So just embrace it, you know, and take it in and make it whatever I want it to be, rather than like a weird experience or a nerve-wracking one, you know?
Yeah, and have fun. Like this is your whole career, right?
Yeah.
Like you literally spend every day training for this moment. You might as well have fun.
That's the hardest part
done,
too.
Right? Once it's done, like it's gone. Once you don't fight anymore, you're gonna miss it.
Bro.
So you better make sure you have fun while you're doing it.
It is the
But obviously it's
one.
different when you're in there and shit, but.
It is a weird process of like 8 weeks, training every day, thinking about this guy for 15 minutes of fighting. And then leading up.
15 minutes maybe.
Maybe, yeah. And then if you're like the whole fight day, it's nerves. I'm like, why am I doing this? What the f? Like, why did I choose this?
Yeah.
And then as soon as the fight's done, it's like, I can't wait for the next one, who I'm gonna fight.
That's
like,
mad,
and I just spent 2 months thinking about this guy, and now I don't even care about him. I'm thinking about it's just a crazy cycle. And you're right, when it's all said and done, I'm gonna miss it. So it's like, that's why I wanna enjoy the process a little bit more.
What about visualization?
A lot.
You do that?
Leading up to fights, huge, just because one, it helps with my nerves.
Okay.
And then two, when you do get in there and you get there, you're that much more calm at the time. You know, like for me, it's more of, I visualize the walkout, like the feeling of the canvas, because that's different than like the gym mats that you train in every day. I don't know, it's just like just different feels, different smells.
So you visualize being in there.
Right back in there.
Even
from
the smells and the
everything, like the corner, my coach is behind me.
Where do you do it? When you're at your house? Or
just laying in bed. Like,
okay.
I nap a lot in camp too, in between sessions, like before sparring and whatever, and like before bed, just any chance I kind of get, I just, if I start getting myself amped up about the fight, I just kind of calm and visualize myself, the walkout, even like prior, the fight week, checking in, seeing the PFL or Bellator crew, just to keep you stuff I've done. I've been there, I've done it. I know when I get there, it's nothing crazy, you know. I picture seeing my opponent across the cage, you know, they're getting announced and hopping around and doing whatever. Like I can kind of visualize that, because again, you're thinking about this guy for however many months, but you never see him in person. And then when you see him in person, you're like, what the fuck, like, you know. But I visualized it, and I see it, and I just, it gets me comfortable and grounded.
Do you visualize anything in the fight, finishing sequences, moves,
yeah. Stuff I feel like I'm drilling and I'm working, I'm picturing it landing. Stuff he's doing and I'm encountering.
Have you ever visualized anything and then it happened in the octagon that you can remember?
Not to like exact.
Not that you can remember,
but not like an exact sequence, but scenarios and like specific combos and stuff like that I'm like, oh, this will work, and I can see it happening, and I ended up being successful with it in the cage. But it's crazy. It's something I've always just done, always.
Yeah, it's interesting because like most of the fighters I speak to or listen to with interviews, and actually even people that are successful that I know in business and stuff, 90% of the things they speak about is the mental side, right? It's like the belief in themselves, visualization, stuff like that. They don't really speak about technical stuff, because at the end of the day, like even in here, right, everyone's training techniques, right? You're not gonna learn like a special technique that no one's gonna know and you're gonna be able to choke them out with. It is really about consistency, coming in the gym, belief, staying free from injuries, stuff like that, right? It's like stuff that is a little bit, how I would call like intangibles, rather than the stylistics and the techniques, which you need to learn those anyway, right?
Like
every gym's gonna learn those.
And for a fight, like you're not gonna be like, I'm gonna go out there and land a jab cross, this combination, and he's gonna win. Like,
it kind of just comes naturally in there, right?
Yeah, and like you come out there and he does one thing and he moves a different way, and
and you're gonna do something else.
I can't control him, you know, so I can control what I can control.
In terms of you know, controlling him, a lot of people I bet on MMA for a living, right?
Yeah.
As you know, right? And I do tape study every day, right? The only way I can bet is by watching tape. So like if you're fighting whoever it is, I'm gonna watch your last 4 fights.
Yeah.
Or fights where you fought a similar stylistic matchup than you have. If you're fighting a wrestler, I'm gonna watch your fights against the wrestler, see how you perform. Like, how many takedowns did you get? How much control time, etc., etc. What takedowns do you like? Do you like single leg or double leg? Is he good at defending single leg, whatever, right? I watch tape study religiously. That's how I make my money. Do you watch tape on your opponent?
I do.
Every fight?
Every fight, but I don't get like overly crazy about it. I'll get the opponent or the name, whatever, it's signed and sealed.
Yeah.
I'll watch his last like 3-4 fights.
Yeah.
I'll get off of that and that's it. I don't really look back at it anymore.
Okay.
I let the coaches kind of handle that, what they think.
So your coaches do lots of tape?
Yeah, I don't really want to like fixate on it for me. But I see it for myself.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I do it more of like confidence of like, oh, I'll see him doing something like I can handle this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you shit doing that.
Yeah, it's just little stuff like that. Yeah, so it's more of like a confidence thing and just see where I'm at, see what he's about.
Yeah.
But like as far as finding tendencies and he dips this way or he slips that way, like I leave that to the...
Is it because you don't want to focus on what he's good at? Like if you see him getting lots of knockouts and stuff, you might
I'm not trying to watch this dude.
Yeah. Because you want to focus on your game, right?
Yeah,
what you can bring to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And I leave it to them to like put my game and see how that works against their game.
Yeah, your coach is some of the best in the world, man, so I'm sure you can leave it to them.
Yeah, so I leave it to them.
Yeah. All right, man, well, good training. Thanks for that. Good chat.
Of course.
You want to go get some food?
Yeah, my man.
Good man. Thanks, brother.